Fiscal year, what it is, and advantages over calendar year. What is a fiscal year? A fiscal year is a 52 or 53 week of alternately the 12-month period that companies and government use for taxing or accounting purposes. Fiscal years are most commonly used by entities that depend on cycles that doesn't correspond to the calendar year. While a fiscal year can start on January the 1st at the beginning of the calendar year and the end of December the 31st at the end of the calendar year, a fiscal year doesn't always correspond to the calendar year. Companies, and organizations can start and end the fiscal years differently depending on their financial planning and budgeting practices. Oh, I just watched that video. I would love to show it to y'all, but I'm pretty sure it'll be copywritten because it's someone else's production. I didn't want to say that because someone might beat me to my other punch. A 1-year period that companies and government use to financial reporting and budgeting. Countries, companies, and organizations can start and end their fiscal year differently depending on their needs and practices. For example, the U.S. government fiscal year begins on October the 1st and ends on September the 30th. That is my mother's birthday. That's the day that my grandmother gave birth to my mother. It's my mother's born day, my grandmother's birthday. Wow. I love you, Rara. It's structured this way as the government can collect taxes, accept funding requests from the agencies, create a budget proposal, and route the proposed budget through the appropriate channel to Congress for approval. Nonprofit organizations often align the fiscal years with timing of grant awards. For profit business might choose a year that ends after it has its largest revenue intake. For example, a retailer may choose to end its fiscal year on January 31st. Fiscal years are referenced by their end date or end year. For example, to reference an organization fiscal year, you may say fiscal year 2024 or fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024. Similarly, if you're referring to government spending that occur on November 15, 2024, you will label this as an expenditure for fiscal year 2025. So hear me, I'm talking about the Motley Fool, and of course they would get that right. Why would they get it wrong? That's me that was wrong. But you see how reading increases your knowledge and you have the opportunity to learn more about the market. So I've been in this market for 4 years and had no idea that a fiscal year was different from a Gregorian calendar year. I just learned tremendously. I really don't know how this is going to help and evolve my trading. I just make me more, I guess, weary of if a company is talking about their fiscal year that is not December the 31st, it could be any end date, and I will have to learn more about that company. It just make me take a deeper dive. IRS requirements for fiscal year. Federal tax filing are based on the company fiscal year. The IRS define a fiscal year as 12 consecutive months ending on the last day of any month, except December. According to the IRS definition, a fiscal year must end on the same day of the week each year, whichever it is closest to a certain date, such as the nearest Saturday to December the 31st. For reporting annual income for tax purposes, U.S. taxpayers are subject to tax year that correspond to the calendar year. So the U.S. tax year runs from January 1st to December 31st. All earnings during the period are considered income for tax purposes. For companies and organizations with fiscal years that are different than the calendar year, some adjustments to the deadlines for filing certain forms of making payments may be necessary. While most taxpayers must file by April the 15th following the year for which they are filing, fiscal year taxpayers must file by the 15th day of the 4th month following the end of the fiscal year. For example, a business observing fiscal year from June 1st to May 31st must submit its tax return by September the 15th. That's September, May, June, July. 15th day of the 4th month. Oh, the 15th day of the 4th month, not of the next month. Okay. In the U.S., eligible business can adopt a fiscal year for tax reporting purposes simply by submitting their first income tax return. Observing the fiscal year anytime, these businesses may elect to change to a calendar year. However, certain business entities or S corporation shareholders that want to change from a calendar year to a fiscal year may require approval from the IRS unless they meet one of the criteria outlined on Form 1128 application to adopt, change, or retain a tax year. Example of fiscal years for corporations. Investors might ask what fiscal year it is. The answer to the question can vary from company to company. Below are 10K reports from well-known companies with fiscal years that don't follow the calendar year. A 10K is an annual financial performance report and filed by the publicly traded companies with the Security and Exchange Commissions, SEC. Apple Inc. ends its fiscal year on the last Saturday of September. Microsoft, wow. Is a fiscal year the same as a calendar year? A fiscal year spans 12 months, 52 or 53 weeks, and corresponding with the company budgeting process and financial reporting periods. Fiscal years can differ from a calendar year and are important for accounting purposes because they are used when filing taxes, for budgeting, and for financial reporting requirements. The U.S. government fiscal year began on October the 1st and end on September the 30th. I love you, rah-rah. Companies that rely on contracts from the government also may structure their fiscal year in the end of late September. Conversely, many technology companies experience strong sales volume during the first half of the year, which can explain why, in many cases, their fiscal year ends in late June. Why I use a fiscal year instead of a calendar year. For companies that rely on seasonal activity, using a fiscal year may be beneficial. This is because it allows revenue and expenses to align better. For instance, it is common for retail companies to end their fiscal year on January 31st after the holiday season. This gives the company more starting capital to work with and allows it to prepare financial reports in a quarter sales period. A fiscal year, bottom line, a fiscal year is a long 52 or 53 week period chosen by a company or government to coincide with planning, budgeting, and revenue cycles. A fiscal year is used for account purposes and for preparing annual financial statement. Reasons vary for why some entities might want a fiscal year different from the calendar year. In certain circumstances, a fiscal year might end on a specific day, such as last Saturday or particular month, as opposed to the last day of the month. Oh, I love this so much, because I plan on opening a business. Whole reason why I got into investing, whole reason why I got into using my currency was so that I can open up business. And with me opening up business, I just learned something about a fiscal year. So in my mind, only thing I'm thinking is wait till the most busiest time of my year, and then that's when I will have my end of year. Like, that's my thought process. And it's funny because I work for a company that used this, and now I'm going to put it to my advantage. I thank you, YouTube, for allowing me to be able to express my own views, my artistic views, and being able to get things accomplished and done. Thank you.